It's happening again. The Bears left tackle competition is spicing up, and it is not the greatest thing that we have ever seen in the world. Welcome to Bears Digest, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Dylan Guinzy. Thank you for joining me again today. If you are not subscribed yet, please do so. It looks like 67.5% of you are not subscribed, so please do to get those continued updates as we approach the regular season. So off the bat today, we're starting to get a little bit worried about the left tackle competition between three guys now, it looks like, not just two. With the Braxton Jones and Ozzy Trapillo situation, we do have some new information that came out, new rumors and things from yesterday at the joint practice. But as we've discussed before in two other videos now about this competition, it's a little bit up in the air and all over the place. Obviously, I have my prediction as Braxton Jones is going to win the job just from that experience that he brings as being a starter at left tackle in the NFL. But Braxton Jones himself has not played well. And after that injury that he did have last year that ended his season early, he has not really recovered too much from it. Before his injury, he was a serviceable left tackle. He was a guy that was not strong against the bull rush. He did not have a great anchor, is what we call kind of locking those feet down and getting your body set up to protect yourself against the bull rush. He's never really had that ability before the injury, and now after the injury, it looks even worse. So as I said before, I think Braxton Jones is going to win the job with the left tackle competition, but overall, it's not a good thing because he looks worse than when he did as a starter previously before this point. The second player in this battle who is kind of in the background now, it seems like, is Ozzy Trapillo. This is our second round pick in this previous draft. This was the first O-lineman taken for Ryan Poles in quite some time now, and the earliest that one has been taken, which is unfortunate to say the least. I think Ryan's weak spot has been drafting O-linemen, and he doesn't draft them high either. Being a former O-lineman, you would hope that he's a little bit better at doing so. And, would stress the importance of doing that early. They've done a good job of building the interior offensive line with Joe Thuney, with Jonah Jackson, and with Drew Dahlman, but the left tackle spot is still a glaring need, and they didn't really solve it. They kind of just tried to do some patchwork, hope Braxton Jones is better, and, hope Ozzy Trapillo hits right away and uses those traits that he has to be good at left tackle. But what we've seen here recently and what we've heard from offensive line coach Dan Roushar, Ozzy has been a lot better at other areas than left tackle specifically. So we'll get into that here shortly in terms of what Ben Johnson said about that as well in the press conference yesterday. And we'll get into that. But overall, Ozzy Trapillo is kind of out of the race now. So it looks like it might be a more two-man race between the next guy that we'll get into, who's kind of been bursting onto the scene here lately. But Ozzy Trapillo is kind of out of this. We'll see what happens in the preseason game tomorrow, where he gets reps, things like that. But right now it's looking like he's going to be a swing tackle for this team. Theo Benedict is the third guy in the race. Looks like it's just him and Braxton Jones now. Theo was an undrafted free agent last year. We saw him on Hard Knocks. They called him the Canadian Eagle. He's got a good personality. He's a funny guy, things like that. But I don't know if necessarily that's something that you strive for with your starting left tackle. This guy has earned it, though, over the last couple of weeks. He's been playing pretty well and done what the coaches have asked of him when rotating in with the ones there. But we still do have some big issues overall with the left tackle spot. And obviously, if Theo Benedict is listed as your starting left tackle, I think that speaks volumes to the rest of the guys and how poor of a job that they have done. Nothing against Theo Benedict or anything like that. Nothing against him as a person, as a player. Maybe he'll be great. You just never know. But that doesn't speak well to everybody in the organization, including the people that were, or the players that were involved in this competition at left tackle. So Theo Benedict is in the mix now. We'll see who actually gets the start against the Bills in the preseason game tomorrow night. It's going to be interesting to see because all starters are playing. We'll see how long that they play. I would assume that the guys that are up for grabs here in the left tackle spot, they're going to play a lot more. They're all going to get, reps, of course, to kind of see who takes that by the horns there. But it's going to speak volumes to who they have, at the top right now, based on who they put out there first. So I would assume it's going to be Braxton Jones, but I'd be surprised, if it's Theo Benedette going out there. That would be notable. So we'll keep our eyes on that, and we'll be here with the news and rumors on that and what happens there. But Theo Benedette is that third guy right now. Overall, regarding camp yesterday and the joint practice against the Bills, the entire offensive line was struggling with pre-snap issues, and the left tackle spot was responsible for most of these false starts. This tweet here was cut off, but it was by Greg Braggs as well, kind of the go-to there for the live tweets in the joint practice. But at the left tackle spot, I think they were responsible for half or more than half of these. I think one was on Darnell Wright as well at right tackle. But overall, the pre-snap stuff, that has to be figured out, right? If you're going to be weak at the left tackle spot in general as your starter, they at least got to get to the line and get post-snap, right? You don't want to lose 5 yards before you're even starting the play, right? You don't want to start at 1st and 15, 2nd and 15. That's going to cause so many issues just going backwards, and Ben Johnson is absolutely going to lose his mind if that's going to continue here. So obviously, I know sometimes in practice, joint practice, you're trying different things. Maybe you're not always as locked in and focused, but of course, practice does translate to the games, and how you prepare in practice is how that's going to show up in the games. Overall, that's just natural, right? That's kind of just a natural human being thing. So yeah, I want to see those guys a lot more locked in. It looked like they had 2 straight false starts on the offense at 1 point, 7 on the day total, 4 on the first team offense. And this is just stuff that we have got to clean up as a team here, and the left tackle spot in general too. You're not going to win a battle by going out there and false starting multiple times. So got to clean that up. That's got to be better overall. One thing I do want to touch on here is Dan Roushar, the offensive line coach, his comments on Braxton Jones. This was following the preseason game last week against the Miami Dolphins, and he spoke on Wednesday regarding this. This graphic here is made by Just Another Year Chicago. Great media guy there for the Chicago Bears. Love his work as well, so make sure he gets the credit here. But this is what Dan Roushar had to say about Braxton Jones. He reverted back to whatever this is for him. That's not acceptable. Every day we need to come in with a standard, and we'll hold them to that standard. So Braxton, overall, what Roushar was speaking about here was in the joint practice against the Dolphins last Friday, he did play pretty well. He was utilizing his anchor. He was holding up pretty well. And then it got into the preseason game, and this is what he had to say about it, and this is kind of what happened, right? He had an edge rusher kind of blow right by him. He looked a little bit unfocused. He wasn't setting his feet and everything like that. Of course, I am no O-line expert. I'm not claiming to be, but when you just watch this, on the field, when you're watching tape or just watching the games, and somebody just completely uses a basic edge rush move to go right around Braxton, you obviously know that's not correct, right? So obviously there's a lot more that goes into it, but when, your head O-line coach speaks like this about him and kind of doesn't hold back, that obviously says that he's not performing well enough. And this does cause a lot of concern for this left tackle battle here that we have going. The next thing here is regarding Ozzy Trapillo. This is from Ben Johnson the other day. There was no doubt that Trapillo has looked more comfortable playing right tackle. So this just kind of speaks a little bit more on Ozzy and where he is kind of at in the process. They tried him at left tackle. Maybe he could play there in the future. Maybe he is our left tackle of the future. But right now, it's looking like he is out of the race. And it looks like he's just more comfortable playing at right tackle. That's what he played the most in college, at Boston College. And left tackle is just not his comfortable spot right now. So it looks like he'll probably be, more of a rotational swing tackle, which swing tackle is important. Don't get me wrong. It is a very important position, and we will need him. But it looks like the, trying to go at that left tackle spot is not going to be the case. So overall, guys, we've heard this song and dance before. The left tackle spot or some sort of spot on the offensive line for the Bears is just not clicking. And we don't want that weak spot on the offensive line, but it looks like as of right now, that's kind of what we're heading down. So, of course, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself or ourselves, but please let me know down below in the comments what you guys think about this battle, who you guys think is going to start, who you want to start. I'm always curious to see what you guys think on that to get other perspectives, of course. We're not going to panic too much yet. The regular season hasn't started, but there is cause for concern about all of this because we've seen this happen year over year over year. And again, we want to have a strong offensive line. That's how you're going to see how the quarterback's doing, see how the offense is doing overall, and how everything is going to mesh together and click. So it's very important for this left tackle spot to be good. I don't think they're going to add any free agents. I think Poles is kind of set in his ways right now with this roster, which is a story for another day. I think they should add more guys, but we'll see how roster cut down day goes. If any surprise cuts happen, if any surprise additions happen, that's coming up here in a week and a half or so. So we'll see there. Of course, we're going to be here after the preseason game tomorrow night. Going to have some recaps on that, probably coming out Monday. Very excited to see the starters play, get some action. It's going to be really good against a Super Bowl contender. Bills starters will be playing as well. So going to be interesting, going to be fun. Can't wait to see it. And we'll be here as always. And we will see you next time. Bear down.